Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through the cash cows for round 7, going through all of the low break-evens. It's probably going to be a shorter video as there are not many guys to really look at, as we didn't really get anyone debuting with a fantastic score. I mean, yeah, looking at this right now, we didn't get anyone debuting other than basically Riley Garcia, but or playing his first game, and Riley Garcia, yep, he's already over 300k, so it was basically what Combin did, but Combin was scored 40 more, so, and we knew that Combin probably wasn't the best trade then, and that's sort of shown in the last couple of weeks. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the recap. So, Leofau here, 4 games, 48 average, has that big game in the ticker from last week before his bye. If we go down to that, if it will let me, 99 against the Eagles, or the Weagles for another week because they won. Yeah, I just don't think this is a good trade-in. Break-even of -19. And yeah, I don't think he's going to be one that generates too much cash, as we've seen his other games this year, a 24, a 32, and a 37. I don't think he's sort of in that whole position with the Richmond being pretty bad. That small medium forward, that's sort of physical. It doesn't really generate scores in general in fantasy, but also with Richmond not being necessarily the greatest and not having then necessarily their frontline midfielders, the ball going into the forward line might be a little bit more scrappy, and it might not necessarily generate the best entries, and Leofau is probably not going to get the best ball. And so, yeah, I would be sticking clear of him, as he probably has one of the biggest graveyard shifts at the moment. Closey, one of the best rookies that we've had, -15 break even. And yeah, he's just generating cash at this point. -15, he's going to score probably a 70 again. You can see here that's projecting him. If we go here, it's projected that he'll go another, 76 plus 67, 143k more potential cash gen in the next sort of 3 weeks with just 70s. And he could easily pop a big 100 score again and really generate more cash. But another sort of 140k will get him up to 560. And then you could probably cash him out then with one of like a Hugo Garcia at that point, should be about 400k, or one of like the Matt Roberts or something like that, and that'll be the way you can get up to another primo, as those two will be roughly 500, or well, Matty Roberts will probably be 650k by then, or 600k. And what is Matty Roberts at the moment? Let me actually just check that. I think is he 580, 598. So he'll be 650k. 650k plus closely 560k. That'll get you a huge primo by then. And that's when you can start to almost look at the big primos, as you've almost maxed out your team. Hugo Garcia, another guy that I jumped on this week and jumped on early in Supercoach, and really happy that I did, as he scored a 71, I believe, on both platforms. Or was it, did he score a little bit less in Supercoach? Let me just check that. But yeah, he is the number 1 trade-in, I reckon, for both Supercoach and Fantasy this week, as he just had a really good game, and I really like his role as, I believe it's a fourth in to the midfield. I don't think it's a direct midfield role that I think some people were necessarily saying it was. I don't think it is. I think it's more half forward and then floating in and taking the stoppages around the ground. If we go to Hugo Garcia, he was actually, yeah, I think he did start the last quarter mostly on ball because the game was dead and they were trying to sort of rest their main guys. If you look here, you had Steele 86, you had Marshall, I know, got rested in the last quarter up forward. I know that Camaminti went in, and I believe also did Mitch Owens at times. Even Liam Stocker had time on ball. They really tried to rest and rotate these guys around the ground to freshen up, as they got belted because they had 3 games in 11 days, and you can just see it here with these guys having a lot less time on the around the ball, etc., or around the ball, I guess. I'm surprised Philip, who had 0, he's been really poor and deserves almost time in the 2s. But yeah, you can sort of see these guys that weren't getting much time on the ball. Camaminti in the ruck, Owens again taking some time as well, Sinclair as well. Zach Jones, a little bit of time until he was subbed out. Garcia mostly was around the ball as much as they could get him as they're developing him. Ross, and then you had Windhager still taking some time up there. I mean, even Steele, you could say, was probably rested a little bit, as he mostly had bigger games in the other ones. And then you have here also Roel Marshall definitely taken some time out of the ruck as that game was dead in the last quarter. So there's that, and that's why I think Hugo Garcia, if we actually look at Garcia, and you'll see his heat map of where his possessions were, you have a 71 here, and here we go here. You can see a lot in the forward half, which sort of suggests to you that he was sort of playing here and then sort of rotating in, and then taking a lot of the on-ball stoppages in the forward half, which was a good thing, and I think that's really good. Especially with the rest, I think that St Kilda will be better. Close that. I think St Kilda will be better, and they do have, who do they have next week? Let me just go to Garcia. They've got Port. That'll be an interesting game, but he has these two games next of the bottom dwellers in the North and the Hawks, which he should be playing. He shouldn't be sub. He was one of their live wires, and I think he was one of their better players. And you see here, 14 touches, 9 tackles, 2 frees against, and a goal. If he can keep on producing that and get a couple more 70s, then this cash gem will be huge. So I reckon he's the big trade in for the week. Drury, he showed why he is a sort of half forward and why he probably shouldn't be selected, to be honest with you, by people. As, he just looked... He did what a half forward should do. And that was basically do nothing. A 44 against the Hawks. Will be interesting to see how he scores. I don't necessarily think he'll be that good of a cash generator on both platforms, but I'll need to look at potentially him over and look at his job security, and we'll look at that. But because we do have the Wednesday night game, and this is sort of, so I don't think he gets dropped. I think Biggie's more likely to get dropped, but these two guys are out of sort of the cash generator, and I wouldn't be picking them up for 310 or 290k because their roles just don't suit cash generators. And I think that they could easily go, look at Drury's fixtures. He's projected with I think that projection is around about the mark of 39 or 40. So he's roughly going to be on a break even of 0 next week. I reckon he's only got maybe 80k left in him, and that's not really worth a trade at this point, especially at that inflated price. I'd be looking for guys like Garcia. I'd be even potentially, if you don't somehow have Closey, I'd be jumping on Closey. I'd be almost tempted to jump on Leofau over Drury just because of Leofau's break even and he's 34k less. So, but even that, I'd rather just I'd rather almost just jump on Will Graham, to be honest with you, at that time, or almost Biggie Nguyen over Blake Drew, because Biggie Nguyen has the chance to go absolutely huge in defence just because they chip it around. So I'd rather go Biggie than Blake Drury, to be honest, but I'd rather just stick away from any of these two. Will Graham, he's been huge, and the cash generation, I think I went through this in my recap video, should be huge for him for the next couple of weeks. He's projected to make, 109 more K, which will get him almost up to 500k, which will be almost him and Closey can combine to another rookie and also a star on field, which should be good as, we're running out of cash generators very, very quickly. So we do need some guys to debut, and it doesn't look like many are going to debut at the moment, but we'll wait and see. Ramsden, Watson, McMullen, Lohman, these guys are all... Conway's not going to play. Charlie Dean's dead. Ramsden's dead. Nick Watson is not playing. He's injured as well, so he's dead. Toby McMullen, he's not playing as well, so he's dead. Then you have... And then we're already up to 10 break even. Kai Lohman, I think he's one that had a little bit of a down game. 350k, I wouldn't be jumping on him either. As like I said, same sort of applies with Blake Drury. I know he's in a better team, so he should average probably about another 10, 15 more. And it was a wet game against Geelong, so I was surprised he didn't goal in that game. But yeah, you can see these sort of sub games affecting him. And when he isn't sub, he sort of averages around that sort of 55 range, he averages around the 60, I think it's around 63.7 or 64 when he is not the sub. So that's a pretty good number. But I still wouldn't be touching him. Sean Manor has no chance of getting into the Geelong side with how good they're going at the moment. Josh Draper, key defender on the 12 break even, no thank you. Kane McAuliffe, another one, 15 break even. You can almost wait another week for him, as hopefully this is the good thing about him, is that he had that sub game first, which sort of didn't really get his cash in going. Then he had a 38. So hopefully with another, if he goes his projected 37, which I think he could actually go above this week, then he'll go up to like 230k or so. 240k, and we can trade him in then when he has like a negative break even. So that's sort of the look at there for McAuliffe. Neil not playing really regularly enough. Harrison Jones, again, another guy that's way too overpriced and not going to give you cash generation. Mullen isn't playing. Riley Garcia, probably overpriced and is a half forward, sort of a little bit on ball type of guy. I need to double check that with the CBAs for the Western Bulldogs. I think he got a little bit of CBAs in the last quarter when the game was dead and buried. Evan Richards, 76% CBAs. That was a new change of role that I need to probably look at a little bit. But you can see here, Riley Garcia, 21%. I don't really think it was necessarily a change of... I don't necessarily also think that McRae, that was a weird one, McRae getting back to his best. So yeah, Garcia, 21% on ball. I don't think he's a trade-in, to be honest, at that inflated price. Then you start to get into the 200Kers that basically don't play. So yeah, and then Harley Reid, the biggest stuff up of this year. Yeah, and Harvey Thomas actually did get some cash generation, which is good for those people. And he's projected to get, I don't think he's going to put up a 60, to be honest, but he's been all right, to be honest. So that was probably another stuff up on my part. A lot of stuff ups this year on fantasy. But anyway, that pretty much is the video. I somehow stretched this out to 12 minutes. But yeah, this is a pretty dry week for cash cows. Hopefully next week we get a debutant that comes in this week. And also we get McAuliffe getting a big score, so he can be up there as well. But it really looks like the cash generators from 2 weeks ago, the ones that we should have jumped on 2 weeks ago, are still sort of there, and there's no one else really developing. And a lot of them are just getting dropped, so they're not really there or thereabouts. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be the trade target. So I'll see you guys in that video. Bye, guys.